Okay, I'm just going to make a short video here on some estate sale finds. Got a tool here that was $3, and if you don't know what it is, I'll show you what it is in a few minutes. This is a starter draw amp gauge. So this, you just hold on the battery cable and you crank your starter. It'll tell you the amperage current the starter's drawing. Pretty slick thing to have. These were not cheap back in the day. I paid 25 cents for that, $3 for that, and $2 for this. And I'll go over this here shortly too. So let's give this a try. We'll try it on the Catalina, and then I'll explain to you what this is, and then we'll try this out. Well, it's hard to get the camera up closer on the tripod, but what I do to crank the motor, I'm just going to hook my switch up to it here. And to do that, you put the one clamp on your battery positive and your other clamp on the little purple that goes down to the starter. And so we got crank. Now this car hasn't been started in, I don't remember one. So anyway, then you put your gauge on the cable, and I guess I can hold the camera because I can set that there. So hang on a second. Okay, so that's where I hooked the starter. So you got your little purple that goes down to the solenoid, goes that terminal, and that's the battery cable ends there. So that is the gauge, and let's crank the engine and see what it says. Yeah, so that's drawn over 400 amps to crank. Now, it is a cold engine, and it has been a long time since it's been started. But that's how you check your current draw. And it doesn't matter which way you set this on the cable, it'll just read in the other direction. Or you can even set it on your negative cable, it just doesn't matter. But yeah, that's tells you your starter current draw in DC amps. Kind of a neat thing to have. So that's the one tool I got, 25 cents. Okay, tool number 2 here is a battery or a heavy cable crimp tool. So it gives you your different wire crimp eye sizes, and this is a spring-loaded thing, so you can put your crimp in there that has your eye and put your battery cable in it, and then you hit that with a hammer. I have one that I've used for years, but the little return spring in it that is in it is broken. So sometimes, you know, you're trying to put your cable, you put your little crimp thing in there, and then that's supposed to hold it while you put your cable and then smack it with a hammer. So this one, the spring is good in it. So I'll take this one up north to the cottage for when I work on boats and things up there for other people, put like double battery switches and stuff in. I've taken this up there a number of times and forgot it and left it there, so I'll have one in each place now. So. All right, that's what it does right there. This is the crimped end where I put a new cable end on this battery cable. What I'm going to do, that cable was just cable, and I don't like these repair ends on the Catalina, so I'm just going to find a couple of cables, and then I can cut them to length and put new ends on them with that tool like that end right there. So it's kind of a handy tool to have. Well, this is an ozone generator here, and this actually makes ozone. So if you have something with odors in it and you want to get the odors out, these will get the odors out. I used to use one of these when I was in the boat business. You get boats that had gas leaks, and the upholstery down in the cabin would absorb the gas smell. And you could leave the boat opened up outside. You could do whatever you want, run the bilge blower. It was very difficult to get the gas smell out of the materials in the fabric, the foams and the seating and the fabrics and the carpets, and you know, they had cloth on the sides and the headliner of boats. They were, you know, there was no bare fiberglass in them. So I used to just put an ozone generator down in the cabin and plug it in and let it run overnight, and the next day the boats would be odorless. So they're pretty simple. Let's adjust how much ozone it generates. They don't make much noise. This generator does work, and I did buy it in a estate sale. So there, it's plugged in and running. It's generating ozone, and I can hear it a little bit. turn it up a little bit, see if you can hear it here. So you can turn the ozone amount down or up depending on how big of a space. You don't want to breathe the ozone in, it's not good for you. But that will definitely clear all your smells out of whatever may smell. That one says Ozone Air, Grand Rapids, Michigan, USA. 110 volts, 60 cycles AC. So they're a good thing to have, and like I say, I paid a couple dollars for it. It works perfect. Alright, and I did dig through my hoard and find a muffler, the correct one for this engine. The box. The part number for this muffler, if anyone's looking for one, is 30996. So you can see this is an old package by the writing on it. I also have a bunch of old Briggs & Stratton mufflers, and this one's a 294441, and this is the low tone that they put on a lot of their old engines. I have probably 3 or 4 of these. I got all these in estate sales over the years. So yeah, that's kind of nice when you can just dig through your hoard and find what you need. Now on this engine, it had a deflector that went on here that blew the exhaust out this way, and I didn't think it was a good idea to blow it in the direction of where you're wanting to plug your cords in. So I didn't put the deflector on there. It kind of blows out this way, so if you want to set it in a door blowing out, it's easier. You can still plug stuff in. I do have a, somewhere around, the deflector I found, but I have the National Forest Service spark arrestor that goes on this muffler somewhere around, and I may put that on it, and that'll continue blowing the exhaust straight out like that. But I did look up a lot of information on this generator, and here I'll go over it. So this generator is a Sears Craftsman. The engine was manufactured by Tecumseh Power Products. The engine was manufactured on Tuesday, February 9th, 1971 in Grafton, Wisconsin. The generator head was made by Generac. I don't have a date or anything for when the generator head was made. And just give you a little bit about knowledge about Tecumseh Products. Tecumseh Power Products was founded by Raymond Herrick in 1934. They made like compressors for refrigerators and stuff like that. And then after World War II, they got into air conditioning units also. So you find a lot of cars with Tecumseh AC compressors, especially Ford used a lot of Tecumsehs back in the 60s and 70s. And their, for their AC. In 1956, Tecumseh Power Products purchased Lawson Manufacturing Company, which was founded in 1895 by John Lawson. So after Tecumseh Power Products bought Lawson, they created Tecumseh Power Products Company. And that grew into the largest small air-cooled engine manufacturer in the United States and probably in the world. So Tecumseh, these motors, they're one of the maker of this motor was one of the largest in the world. And then in 2007, the engine line was sold to Platinum Equity, and in December 2008, the company stopped its engine manufacturing division. And then it later sold its Peerless Transmission division, which Tecumseh also made Peerless Transmissions. They sold that division to Husqvarna Outdoor Products, and Tecumseh closed up its doors in February 2009. So in the time from 1934, when Tecumseh Products was founded, it lasted till 2009. They were at one time the largest engine manufacturer in the world. They made more engines than Briggs & Stratton. They made more engines than Kohler, all those, Wisconsin. There was tons of small engine manufacturers, but Tecumseh was the largest. There was 2 reasons why I changed the muffler on this. The first one, main reason, was the muffler was close to the alternator here, and this was getting residual heat from it when you'd put your hand on the alternator. was always a lot hotter right here, and windings and heat do not mix well. You want to keep them as cool as you can. So that was the main reason why I put this little pancake muffler that originally would have come on it back on, was to keep the heat away from this part of the alternator. This is the part the windings are in, and the part you want to keep cool. It's probably in about like that. The second reason was where the pipe came out and went into the can, it was cracked about 3/4 of the way around, so the can was about ready to fall off anyway. I ordered a cycles per second watt voltmeter that I can connect into these outlets, so I can adjust the governor so I get 60 cycles per second and the proper voltage out of this unit. So when that comes in next week or so, we'll crank this up again and we'll put a full load on it. I got 1,000 watts of Christmas lights in that, snow fountain cherry, so we'll plug those into it, and if I have an extra 100-watt bulb convenient to plug into it, we'll do that and put a full load on it and see how it handles a full load. So it cleaned up nice. It doesn't have all that grease and dirt on it, and pretty dandy little generator. And like I say, I think I'll put the National Park Service spark arrestor, so if somebody wants to use it camping or in the woods for power, or to run a power saw or something, if they're building a cabin or something, you know, it makes it a little bit more versatile. Well, at a estate sale I went to where I got those tools, they had a bunch of Mopar stuff, a lot of really good stuff. They had a 68 Plymouth Fury that they wanted $9 grand for, and it was, in my mind, too much. The car was not drivable on the road. It would start and run. It had a 318, an automatic. It did have factory air, but the compressor was off. And anyone that knows anything about AC on cars, you've got to replace the receiver dehydrator, you got to flush the system out. You probably have to replace all the rubber hoses and lines and seals. And hopefully the compressor, which was in the trunk, is still good, so you can get the AC system working. So the car needed, you know, it needed paint, it needed some little bit of interior work. The interior was in pretty good shape, but it was a, you know, a $2,000, maybe $3,000 car, not a $9,000 car. They had no bids or offers on it yet, so yeah, I don't think it'll sell at that price. But they had transmissions, transaxles, transmission rebuild kits, tons and tons of Mopar stuff. So if you're a Mopar guy, that was the one to be at. I think tomorrow's the last day, but they did have a lot of tools. Some of the things that you know, they knew what they were overpriced, and the things that they didn't know what they were underpriced, like that crimp tool, you know, $3. That's generally quite a bit more than that for those. So anyway, that was about it on estate sales. And we'll get back into cars when the weather gets a little better for cruising this weekend, this next coming weekend, I should say. The weekend of the 3rd and 4th, I think, is the Auto Ram in Detroit. There's a 50-50 chance I'll go to that. I haven't been to one of those in 35 years probably. And I don't know, I was just kind of thinking of going. We'll see. So that was a little bit about my estate sale finds, and a little bit about this generator I picked up in an estate sale. And if you enjoy my channel, please subscribe to it. And thank you again for watching my videos.